we don't need to take attendance. We take attendance these meetings. I forgot. We used to take attendance all the time. Consent additions or adjustments, any adjustments or adjustments to tonight's agenda. I will just say that this is intended as a select board work session. We're happy to have input, but that's the intent is to get some ideas down and then solicit public input in addition. Public comments, public announcements.
I have some questions about planning process that you're going through.
Okay, fire away.
So one of the comments was that you're gonna set up your prioritized list as you go through, and that there wasn't gonna be public input during that process until later. Did I get that wrong?
Where did you get that?
I think it was 22 on the minutes. And said the planning meeting is for the board, not the public, and is to be decided on priorities. Paul said we would like to get public input in the future. So that was just a little bit concerning to me about how you, if the public's not there to give you some input, I mean, you have your priorities, but I think the public has some things too. Did I misconstrue that, or?
I probably worded that poorly. My thought was that the select board would get together, make a list of, actually give credit to Donna because she came up with a good format for the conversation of one was putting our items in three different buckets. One is obligations that we have to do, we don't really need to talk about. One, there's make a list of high priority items. And then from those two, kind of prioritize the things we're going to try to work on this year. So with that framework, my thought was the select board ought to get some ideas together and then ask for town input on, here's what we're thinking, what are you thinking? But this is public, everybody's welcome to speak, so we're happy to take input as we go through as well.
You know, I think you've got a daunting task, you know, putting a budget together. You know, fuel costs are going through the roof, electric going through the roof. You know, how do you prioritize that? You know, and you know, I mean, I just had an oil tank filled up, and for number 2 fuel oil, it was $5.60 a gallon. And you know, I don't know if you have wiggle room, if you bought diesel, gasoline, number 2 fuel oil ahead, or are you paying as we go? Are we going to be in the hole before we even get to next year's budget?
We don't pre-purchase in bulk amounts, but our fuel supplier, I don't think we go through much gas at all. It's mostly all diesel. Does rack plus pricing for us, so it's just whatever his rate is plus so many cents a gallon. I can't remember what it is. So you get to ride the lows, but you get to ride the highs too.
Let me just interject, Tim. The idea behind tonight is to talk about topics, not delve into each topic and try to resolve them. So I don't want to get too far down the details in any one specific thing, if that's okay.
But do you understand my concerns and what I'm saying? You know, I mean, when do I come back and, you know, you've got some formats and then you can say this is the public, this is our prioritized list, this is what we feel, you know, going forward, how we're going to solve these problems, as opposed to waiting before town meeting. Everybody sees their rates going up 12%, then it's a crunch.
And budget formation is certainly one of our priorities, one of our obligations for the year, of course. And there'll be a whole bunch of select board meetings devoted to the budget, which are open. So there'll be plenty of opportunity.
So you'll formulate it, and then are you talking 30 days down the road?
I think Pat's asking for like, is there going to be a chance for the public to have input on what we've put together? Is that?
Are you talking about the budget, or are you talking about the priorities?
The priorities.
Priorities, and which budgetary, right, or not?
Not all of them, not necessarily.
I mean, let me throw out then, you know, the town hall, I mean, is that a priority?
That's what we're here to discuss tonight, is where are the priorities, and then,
That goes into, that's gonna be, goes into the budget, you know, and that's where.
well, maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, it's in there right now, it's just strictly a maintenance budget, and that's to be determined as to whether it's in that next year or into something else, more. As I envision it, the old town hall will be, the task for this year will be to start a townwide discussion on what do we want to use it for, how do we want to use it, how do we prioritize the renovation we want to do, where do we find the money, make a plan, not start spending money that we don't have.
Okay, so I'm here a little bit too early.
Possibly. No, this is good input. I mean, this is, it's good to hear.
Pardon me,
It's good to hear. I mean,
so I just wanted. I think the budget planning, I think they're integral and they go together. And I think it's gonna be a tough year. I don't envy you,
it is going to be, no question. I mean, the budget's going to be tough. Lois?
I just wanted to comment that I was really impressed with the way it was laid out and what you're attempting to do. It's really creating a framework, which in the last few years we have not had. That, so I think you're right on target.
Well,
Thank you.
thank Donna for that, because she had the creative thoughts, and that was, I thought, a really good way to look at it. So, yeah, thank you.
I guess that's. I'll just keep my eye out when you're ready to have public input, I'll come back.
Sure, or you can contribute tonight as we go. But, this is, it's, all of our meetings are open and public is willing to speak, is able and willing to speak at all of them. So if you have something to contribute, don't hold back.
I think that the town hall, I think, is gonna be a biggie. And I just think the cost of things is gonna be big. And, the house across the street, I mean, what's that gonna entail? And how do you navigate that? So you're not blindsided when we get into September, October, November, December.
Mhm.
You don't know what's gonna happen, but I'll leave it at that, let you get to your work.
Start looking around for money while you're sitting there.
All right,
Okay, so our approach here is to start with a list of known obligations that we need to knock off for 2026. I deliberately didn't have everybody circulate their comments, so we just had a kind of a free conversation. Are you able to connect so we can put them up there as we go?
Yeah. John, you wanna unplug the HDMI cable from there and hand it to me?
Is it long enough?
I don't know. Well, that way, maybe.
Need a cable
Usually
stretcher.
to switch seats.
yeah.
Here.
One disclaimer. I filled out each section, but I don't necessarily put them in priority in each section.
Same.
So it might sound like kind of word vomit, but it was just as my brain was thinking. John,
Yeah, no, that's good. I did the same.
We can switch again.
So just for clarification, Adrian, this means that people can't see us, but they can hear us. Is that correct?
They can see us on video. I can join the Zoom right now, so I can share my screen to it as well if we want.
Sure.
Okay.
If that's easy, that'd be great. I don't know if anybody's promoting and I can't see it, but
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't list things in a priority order.
yeah, it's not even a monthly order. It's just
Yeah.
kind of,
yeah,
here's this bucket.
stuff down.
And certain things are, in all three buckets.
Mhm.
Recording in progress.
It's gonna be a riveting video, isn't it? So do you gonna bring up, can you bring up this form we had or not?
Yeah, it might be easier if I
Or-
kind of do it as like,
Yeah, you can just,
Um,
yeah, do it in Word and then we can,
yeah, this is like a whiteboard tool.
Okay. okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's start with list of known obligations. Evan, do you want to start with some?
My whole list, or we're just doing 5 blocks? Full
Sure.
word vomit. So a known obligation for me is transitioning from the town clerk and town treasurer. Another obligation that I think we have is
Make sure Adrian's keeping up.
sorry. Updating our financial policies. Now is a good transitional time, I think. And it's a really short roadblock. Finalizing the union contract. I do think that we really should look for a better IT contract, and coupled with that would be a server upgrade. I don't know if that's 2 separate ones, because it kind of is like one service and one's
Better IT contract and what?
a server.
Server.
That's not going to be cheap. Probably without saying it, I wrote down budget development, but we're kind of obligated to do that every year. It's
Right.
just a known one.
Right.
I don't know if you have to put that. I personally feel with the acquisition of Low Lecture Hall, we should dedicate some time to approving a facility use application for Low Lecture Hall, because I'm assuming, maybe the Historic Society wants to use it for something, or beautification wants to have whatever. We should just have an application form in place instead of, oh crap, sure,
Uh-huh.
let me toss a key out and hopefully turn the water on.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a process there. Industrial park is gonna come in all 3 buckets. Buyout properties. I think we have an obligation to support those. And the Julian Scott house poses extra potential work. And I do think that we should meet with other select boards and maybe think about some interlocal agreements to potentially save money. One that's been a pet peeve of Mark Woodard's for years is fuel. As Pat mentioned, but we're gonna buy 10,000 gallons of it. These are not accurate numbers. Hyde Park's gonna buy 10,000 gallons, Morseville's gonna buy 20,000 gallons. If we had some sort of interlocal agreement for raw goods, that would be nice, but also maybe there's a need for interlocal highway support.
Mhm.
So I just wrote interlocals, but it's kind
Okay.
of encompassing. That's my full list.
Okay. I think those are all great ideas. I'm not sure they're all obligations. Like, we don't have an obligation to do an interlocal agreement. I think, so personally, I would put that down in a different bucket. But
We
that's
could move
for
it.
a group discussion.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of why we're here. But those are great topics, and that's certainly something that could bear fruit. Peter.
So also clerk treasurer transition, the budget. Finishing up the FEMA and commercial buyout processes. finishing the library construction and the Holmes Meadow project. And I don't know if it's an obligation yet, but I had Wilson Road paving. Oh, sorry, I went fast.
No, you're good. I was able to copy a lot of them. What was your last one you said?
The last one,
Mhm.
Wilson Road
Wilson
paving.
Road. Okay,
To the list.
I do, it's on here. Kind of building it. I forgot, I always forget when our meeting is at 6 instead of 6:30. It screws me up. Mine's kind of long.
You have a lot of good ones.
Thanks. Okay, so I also have the FEMA buyouts. I have the library construction. Holmes Meadow. Industrial Park. With Holcomb House. Okay, and then Lamoille River hydraulic model, but I'll just put like flood restoration projects. Skate park improvements. I got Wilson Road paving. Then I put commercial buyout brownfield assessments. I don't know if that's like a known it feels like a known obligation, but I'm not sure if it's gonna come up as a known obligation. But so I could kind of leave it off for now, but. And then we're doing the capital assessment plan with Morristown.
Mhm.
Or assets plan, I mean. The clerk treasurer transition. Julian Scott, we kind of lumped that in with buyouts. And then the Legion Field improvements to use that grant money. And then the RERC program. Okay. Then you want to do yours, Paul?
I asked John to make a list as well. Do you have, what you want to add, John?
For the known obligations, I got office staffing. With a reminder that June 30th is coming up quick. Buyout property follow-up, library completion. Town facilities, whether it's parks, rec, municipal. Do an overview and look at for deferred maintenance and flood resiliency.
Okay.
What
Nice.
was your last one?
Flood resiliency.
Okay. I think all of yours were mentioned in all of our buckets.
Okay, I've got some commonalities here as well. I had library funding. It's not really clear what our role is in there, but obviously that needs to be resolved. Capital plan development, we have a grant with Morristown, which has a timeline associated, and that will address some of the facilities and other things Sean was mentioning. Completing the FEMA buyouts. CEDS hire. I also had the Julian Scott House because we have a 90-day deadline from the state to figure something out.
Mhm.
So that's something that we don't necessarily need to do. I think we need to be part of it being addressed one way or another. Legion Field Phase 1, we have grant that we need to spend, so that's a short-term priority and an obligation. Skate park, half pipe, same thing. We have a grant, has a deadline. You gotta give the money back, get it done. Industrial park. Not really an obligation, we could let it sit, but yeah, so. And the other one I had was salt purchase. I was thinking of you.
So it's funny because when I wrote interlocals, I was literally thinking about the fact that the state can buy salt $28 a ton cheaper and wanting to piggyback on the state. But I said, man, if the towns get together, maybe we could form our own.
Public comment. Things you'd like to add for obligations for this year?
Well, you mentioned RERC at birth, I don't deal. So RERC actually one that came up in our second calls that day, was that, all of a sudden Brownfield came up with a whole mill park and all the property town has that possibly be used for campsites, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's an EPA specialist who's part of this whole specialist and so it looks like that's gonna have to be a component of what's going on. So
Good. Yeah, I personally had the EPA RERC in the high impact projects, our next category, but it's probably be in all three. Okay, so let's move to high impact projects.
The big picture vision items.
Big picture vision items, high impact, yeah.
It's so funny how we view things differently.
Yeah, well,
What you think we're vastly different?
No, there's just things that were mentioned that I have in different buckets. You know?
Mhm.
yeah. Peter, lead us off.
So okay, big positive impact, but may not be achievable this year. I think, so what I tried to do for all of my buckets was looking at last year's priorities and what we haven't finished.
Mhm.
So, Old Town Hall options being one. The potential sale of the old library site. Form-based code changes. And Journey's End acquisition question.
What's that?
That's a piece of neighboring property to Journey's End.
Why?
I don't know, where did that up from?
So this piece of property adjacent to the current property we own is for sale.
Oh, it's on this list of medium priority, and that's from last year, right? That's what we did last year.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure where this list came from. I think some of this list has some influence from committees.
Some of it came from the grant scanner thing I made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So without getting on that list, is that your big picture items?
I guess I was looking at that as down the road items.
Yeah.
Yeah, these don't have to be this year, because the next category is things we want to focus on this year. We're
Mhm.
pulling from this list,
Mhm.
so I think that's fine. John, you want to go next? No?
My big picture, little lecture hall, what's next? We talked about public meetings and looking for a vision. for the hall. The industrial park and attracting business support. Housing, where to locate, and infrastructure. Grocery store / post office in town. I know right now the post office is looking for a location. I'd really like to that it stays in Johnson. Improve the Main Street economy.
What was that one? Sorry.
Improve the Main Street economy. You know, we got some buildings, town, that are vacant, you know, what can we do? What can we do with some of the facade to try to spruce them up? You know, that's what people see when they travel through town. Railroad Street, and that one's gonna be interesting because it's gonna involve the town, the village, the rail trail and local businesses. A 5-year plan for the municipal and economic. Form-based code update. I was at a meeting and there was a question about somebody doing a project. And because of form-based code, it would change the way they'd have to do it and they weren't gonna do it. So if the code is becoming restrictive, then, you know, do we go in, take a look at it? And what can we do to change it to make it more encouraging for development? And upgrading the website.
Nice, thank you.
You can go, Adrian can go. I'm up first, I can go last.
Okay. Yeah, Adrian, you're up.
Okay. Long-term flood resiliency strategy. Affordable housing strategy. Oh, I didn't mean to put higher new CEDS in that one. Grocery store. Like general food access. A community center. Form-based code. A town-wide visioning project or like a 5-year plan. An economic development strategy. A recreation, like kind of a master plan for like recreation. Mostly like planning things I'm just finding. Infrastructure modernization.
What do you mean by that? Is that roads or what?
Yeah, like again, just like planning, I guess. But like making our infrastructure more modern for foot traffic, bike traffic. I don't know.
Yeah.
A renewable energy municipal plan. More work with like the rail trail, and working with partners to take more advantage of it economically. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I know everyone wants to go last, so I'll go next.
Okay.
I also had Old Town Hall steering committee or plan. Rail trails to downtown part 1 implementation we talked about. A green space plan for new green spaces. Sterling market property options, which may or may not be fruitful until we have some guidance as to what's gonna happen there, but nonetheless,
Does that go with the green space plan?
well, it's not very green right now, so. And it's so central, I think it kind of stands by itself, in my view.
Mm-hmm.
LCPC, SLR flood resilience projects, flood resilience in general. I think the new downtown designation program the state has is something we need to look into and know more about. I also had form-based code resolution on here. And also I think a significant impact for us that we need to really work on and figure out how to do effectively is communication with the college and the university, both at the local level and also at the administrative level. I think we've had really good interaction at the immediate local level, thanks to the recreation group, but not so much at the administration level. And they have a new president who we should invite, and so on and so forth. So I think that's big for us. Old Mill Park improvements should be on our consideration. And then the last one I had was EPA RERC grant. And we have people a steering committee and people participating in it, but I think the select board needs to be really plugged into that and supportive of it. So that's my list.
You're probably gonna have a lot of copy paste. I have a paving capital plan. Probably heard me complain about that for years.
Mhm.
But it'd be a tool for future boards. Town building inventory and / needed improvements. It's still a plan.
Planning for the old town hall?
No, all
Oh,
buildings.
all buildings.
We need an inventory of where they stand and what's needed. Some of that will be addressed with the capital plan. I have low lecture hall, we'll call it Old Town Hall use ? Still don't know what we're gonna do with it. I have them as 1, but Paul had them as 2, and that's fine. FEMA buyout plans, and then I had kind of dash move TNL to Main Street ? But that property does. It's unique
Yeah.
and different.
Move it to Sterling Market or like,
Yeah, move it to Sterling Market lot. I think Old Mill Park needs a lot of updates. Long term. This one's gonna sound weird. I wrote down bike path similar to Stowe. I know we're not Stowe. Doug Moldy's had conversations for years about how we're the crossway to trails and more recreational trails, so
Mhm.
it's more broad. I just wrote down like Stowe's. Class 4 roads. We either need to reclassify a boatload of them, put work into them. Maybe arguably some class 3, a class 3 or 2 could be upgraded to class 2 highway. And some class 4s maybe need to be upgraded to a class 3 and brought to standard. Some might need to be downgraded. There's just like a lot of work. Planning Commission did a lot of work there too.
Mhm.
Paul will be a tremendous asset.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, I'd like to have all of the industrial park lots sold. Might be a decade from now, but it's a big picture one. I would like a long-term plan for committees. Since I've been on the board, there's like an ebb and flow, but there's no I'm gonna say controlled growth, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just a few members change and the committee gets a lot more energy and goes off into this tangent. And maybe some committee members leave and they get some more and it goes off this way. I just feel like if there was a structured plan with end goals or defined roles,
Mhm.
it would help. I wrote long-term plan to get every structure out of the floodplain. It's not really accomplishable, but
Every.
every
municipal
structure,
Structure.
every
or
structure.
Every structure.
you know, like in an ideal world, you just pick the whole village up and flew it by helicopter to East Johnson and set it down right next to field base. I don't know.
That's what I've been saying. The low lecture hall needs a new foundation, so we should just move it at the same time.
RERC EPA. Railroad Street rebuild. And I wrote it down separately than the building inventory. I think the municipal building needs work. And we need to budget and do work to this building. That's my whole list.
Nice. Thank you, everybody. John, did you go? Did I ask you? Who's getting all right?
I just gotta say, I'm really loving it. This is a great,
We all look at like each bucket a little differently. It's like RERC came up for everybody like as a known obligation, and I'm like, yeah, sure, but it's a long-term thing to me.
but
Yeah, it depends how you define it. Like I was thinking of like no obligation, like skate park. We could not do it and we just give the money back.
Yep.
It's only a known obligation because there's a deadline to be money in hand. So it's, yeah, it depends on how you define obligation, right?
And the interlocals for me under the obligations, I only feel obligated to be able to purchase the same product for the taxpayers at a cheaper rate.
Yeah,
We're not obligated to have any interlocal agreements.
yeah, it's interesting.
It's more of like a financial obligation.
We are different people. What do you know?
I know.
All right, well, yeah. This is interesting brainstorming. Comments from the public on high impact projects. Pat,
The university college on the hill. I think there should be some prioritizing the new presidents coming on in July. And maybe invite them here to see what's going on in Johnson, so she knows what's up on the hill. I think that's a big thing. Open dialogue, so that so Johnson knows what their thoughts are, so that we don't get blindsided by kind of our Betty into it's in a town hall.
yep.
Business a different place. There's so many studies where that show how much more driven into town. It's very low changes to the streets. Here, a lot of great all over and drive more vehicles into this town. I'm here talking about that empty building, but you know, people see demand, they see stuff. This is there trying to make money off that traffic, so I really think let's drive traffic. Do the minimal that we need to do on Railroad Street, because that's definitely a focus of the RERC plus Sterling Market. That is, you know, we gotta make it into some kind of park, which is also gonna pull people off that rail trail. Millions of dollars we can pull off of it. Right now, they're bypassing us. We're being told they're bypassing us from Morrisville and Jeff because we don't have specific infrastructure, bathrooms, guys. But I think if we focus on that, that would bring to then, build businesses that we need. It's also gonna be, see the industrial park.
Good, thank you. Alice?
One of the things I think about is, do we actually have a budget thing? Some of the assets, and is there an ongoing budget plan that's monitored and folks are made aware of what's?
We don't have a long-term one currently. The grant that we got with Morristown is specifically a capital asset, capital plan. It's to develop that. So that's part of our, we have in the various categories here, but that working on that is on the horizon.
That is recommended to a budget. Like I said.
Yeah, the idea,
Like the word budget, like what was said.
yeah, that's definitely part of the idea, is making a rolling plan that can be updated as you go forward. So currently, the status of that is that Morristown has put out an RFP. They got a response, a couple of responses, I think. And so like it's Stone Shore, Ron Rogensky, as it's only going to hire. And so his task is to make a capital asset and a capital inventory and plan for both Morristown and Johnson separately. It's just a combined grant because they look at those more favorably. So, yeah.
But not sure where the money was in on that, and so when we talk about properties and that kind of thing, and assets.
Yeah, part of that is figuring out what do you have, what do they all need, and then how do you portion out what you're gonna do about those things? That's the idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
how's the big question?
Reaching out and committing to it, and how we're going to get there.
Well, the plan doesn't commit us to anything.
But what-
The plan is to lay out so we know what we're dealing with, and then we have to find the money, exactly. Yeah,
Will it be the kind of plan where it's our intent to do this in year one, this in year two, this in year three, kind of?
I would imagine so. I mean, I guess I don't know the answer to that question. I would think so. The idea would be, well, I mean, that's gonna be on us to figure that out.
Mhm.
But so Ron will be coming in and he'll be having meetings with select board, the town administrator, the highway crew, kind of going through the various buildings, making that inventory and then plan from there. But how to prioritize that is gonna be a yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let's move on to the next category, which is this year's priorities. And I think in my mind, this should be in addition to obligations. So maybe we should go back and revisit the obligations and decide how are we defining obligations and what are those? And then we can decide what we have to add to that. Does that make sense? Or is there a better way to approach this?
You're saying that some of the known obligations we are gonna pull over to this year? Or,
Like.
Well, I would,
For sure, our obligation has to be a priority at some.
I would personally think known obligations on categories of things we have to do. We have to make a budget. We don't need to prioritize that anymore. We know we have to do that.
Mhm.
It's at something driven by legal requirements, deadlines, active contracts, or ongoing commitments.
Yeah, so for
Narrows
example,
it.
the Legion Field improvements. We have the money in hand. We have a timeline in which we have to spend it. We either do it or we don't.
Mhm.
It doesn't really involve the select board per se, other than making a decision here or there. So
Mhm.
personally, I would leave that under obligations, but that's just my thought.
But is it something we
Yeah.
do this year?
Sorry?
But is it something we want to accomplish this year?
Yeah, because we have the money and we'll have to give it back if we don't.
Okay, so it's in both.
It's
So it's in both buckets.
Well, it's not really an obligation. We're not obligated to do it. But it's a
True.
If we want
priority.
to keep the money, we're
We could
obligated.
give it back.
We're obligated,
Yeah, I was
Spend
using,
money or
in
send it
my mind,
back.
I was saying obligation because of the deadline for the
Mhm.
grant, but you're right, we're not obligated to do it. So if we want to, we can say obligations could be a very small category.
Mhm.
Budget,
Mhm.
That's all.
FEMA buyouts, I guess, would be an obligation. We have an obligation to the landowners, the property owners. But that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
yeah, I literally just wrote list one. For the priorities, but I guess I kinda,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how do people feel? Should we make obligations really small? Truly obligated?
Yeah,
Um,
I think go by the definition here, or else we're gonna end up with a very long list.
Big film?
Mhm.
I
Sure.
guess, to me, that list would be things that you know you're gonna spend time on definitely, like the industrial park surely is one, isn't it? I mean, I guess in theory, you could abandon that project, but there's no chance in the world you're gonna do that, right? You know you're gonna spend some time this year talking about the industrial park, making plans, so I feel like that has to be on the list. And
Yep.
anything that you're sure you're gonna spend time on this year, I think should be on there.
mhm.
the obligations.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't consider it obligation so much as like things that you already know you're definitely gonna be working on this year.
Mhm.
Yeah, personally, I would agree. I mean, I think, for example, the capital plan development, we just wrote a grant to get that. We're not gonna not do it.
Yeah.
It's not really an obligation. We could bail, but
Mhm.
why would we? I mean, we're not going to, so.
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
Maybe we should look at obligations a little more loosely than legally obligated.
So right now, are we making a combined?
Right?
Maybe you should change the word. Change it from obligations to something
Known
else.
priorities,
And,
Sure.
I don't know.
yeah, let's not debate the words. Let's just.
So,
Are we making
Okay.
a combined bucket right now?
Well,
Or,
I'm just trying to define what we're gonna put in priorities. Are we just gonna, maybe we can not do what I first suggested and just pull priorities from the two lists we already have? Is that an easier way to go about
you
this?
mean this year's action priorities?
Yeah,
We're gonna build that together as one combined one? Right now?
sure. I had looked at that as separate from obligation. The obligation's already over there. What else do we need to do? But if we want to just pull from the high impact and the obligations, we can do that.
Okay, I'm fine with either.
How's that sit?
can you repeat?
I'm getting confused.
We could pull this year's action priorities from the two lists we've already made.
For sure.
I I saw the big picture vision items as something long-term.
Some
Mhm.
of them are.
So what
That means
this year's action priorities are more immediate things than here on my list. I wouldn't want to lose this stuff.
Okay,
It should be like a
Alright.
healthy balance, I feel like. Well, maybe like it's more like 60% is things we need to absolutely do this year. And then 40% is like working on big vision things or
Right.
some percentage.
But I'm not comfortable making a list from those two categories only.
okay. Well, let's start with what do people write down for this year's action priorities, and let's make a list, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Mine's short.
Peter?
Yeah. Evan's short.
Mine's the list number one, and I added the industrial park. That way I made it on every list. And I added town, village, municipal structure.
You mean employee, like employee wise?
Shore and flow of the office and. Somebody told me. The village might wanna sell. Their half of the 180 acre teacher lot. I don't know for sure. I know we've had joint discussions about it in the past, but maybe that's changed, maybe it hasn't.
Eric's mentioned it, that's something considered.
So you're talking about more than just the office.
That's why I just put structure.
Okay.
I guess it's,
And-
I individually think that it would be very advantageous for both. If the town purchased the village out of 20% of the backhoe, because it just creates problems. Probably a small thing.
Okay. Peter.
So again, I was looking back a lot on priorities we haven't finished. Highway capital plan. And I said CED and CEDS. So community and economic development. Ongoing and settling the question of what are we doing for the specialist.
Like hiring or
Somewhere I picked up grant funding. And I included that, but only for identified projects, not to spend money just going and looking for grants for the sake of grants, because anyway, that the GOMO survey, getting that done, Holcomb House repairs, the recreation economy project combined with the rail trail.
sorry, what was that?
The recreation economy and rail trail development marketing. The downtown opportunity zone.
Downtown Opportunity Zone?
Well, what's the right name? for
Town
that?
designation.
Yeah.
Downtown.
State program.
And wayfinding and welcome to Johnson, wherever I picked that up from, seemed like that was a low hanging fruit.
We, Vermont, Scarlett Johnson's gonna be tackling signage. Welcome to Johnson. That's on our list to do. Great.
That's it.
Nice, thank you. John.
My this year priorities are the industrial park, a 5-year plan, improving college relations and utilizing the assets, creating the website, Julian Scott House, skate park.
Wait, so you have some that are in the long-term one?
Yes,
Okay,
I mean, I think they're part of the long term, but I think I kind of brought them in as, this year's priorities. At least getting to them. Again, going back to form-based code, keep it upgraded, grab it. Stuff.
The word obligation, I was thinking, if you change that out to imperative, this year's imperatives might not seem like an obligation, but it's. Anyway,
Okay.
I did. It's important.
Had your thesaurus go in there, did you? Had your thesaurus go in there, did you?
Certainly did.
Finding the right word is imperative.
Exactly right.
Adrian, what do you have?
Your list structured different.
Hmm?
That's your list structured different.
I couldn't figure out how to type in this, so I just did that Excel.
I just printed it off.
If I wrote it, I wouldn't be able to read it.
I have continued flood resiliency projects. Mine is kind of similar to Evan's with the industrial park, how it's like in every bucket, I feel like. Um, low lecture hall planning. Wayfinding signs. Industrial park. Um, town clerk, town treasurer. CDS. Oh, the Gomo Forest. And then Holcomb House. And I guess I'll add the library.
Thank you. We got to have some commonalities. So I was looking at it as Evan did. I said everything in the first bucket is also in the priorities for 2026. So they're all imperatives. They're all different degrees of priority, maybe or urgency, but they're all in the priorities for this year. But in addition, I didn't have, for example, the EPA RERC in the obligation or the imperatives category. But it's certainly a priority in my mind for this year. Similarly, rail trail part 1, low hanging fruit, signage, bike lanes, etc. Starting an investigation of downtown designation. Yeah, I had that in my high impact, but I didn't have it in the imperatives. Old Town Hall discussion. Town and village office reconfiguration, both employee and structural. Form-based code.
Is it this year?
Hmm?
That's something you'd like to do this year?
Never should have passed it.
And green space plan. But again, my list includes everything that was in my imperatives list, so it's
Yeah.
actually quite a bit longer.
This was the hardest bucket for me because like I want to work on everything at once. So-
I should add agritourism under mine.
Huh?
Agritourism.
Agritourism? What's that? What do you mean by that?
Agro,
Agra,
agra,
agritourism.
What does that mean?
Agricultural tourism.
Is that how you spell that?
That's the Blueberry Festival. That's what we're pushing.
It's one of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Paul, on the downtown designation,
Sorry,
the downtown designation,
yep,
I heard that mentioned a couple of times. Where would I go to get more information on that?
Set.
Set?
Outside, right?
And,
yeah. That's Act 188 is part of it. But sounds good, have a ton of information, but if you also just Google City of Vermont downtown designation, you'll come up with a whole bunch of stuff.
VLCT would be an okay resource.
Yeah, that carries some promise, but it also has some requirements to jump through too, so I think it's something we need to look at, decide if and how and when and all that. Okay, so now comes the hard part, is trying to make some sense out of our various lists here, and then as we look at this year's priorities, either try to prioritize them or rank them, or at least sequence them in terms of how we're going to approach them.
Do we
Yeah.
add additional context? Or are we trying to get these first? Like the additional context page?
Should we just find the overlaps between them all?
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
When are we going over the additional context one? Or is that?
I haven't even seen this until I got here. So I don't even know what this is. What is this?
These are just additional context.
Where did this come from?
That was, Adrian,
You?
gave us, no, Adrian gave us those at the last meeting. And,
Oh, yeah, what's that?
Yeah, the
There you
second
go.
page.
Okay, now I get it. Okay, yeah, so let's definitely go over this then and see if there's things we need to add. So additional context, we have a list of questions that were circulated last meeting. First of which is what felt unfinished or stalled from last year that you want to revisit? Evan,
Had paving capital plan. New gravel pit acquisition. Plan, ideally execution. And bulk salt contract,
nice.
so really that's all raw materials.
Okay, that's it.
3's good.
3 is good. Nice. Peter,
I failed to turn to the last page. Blank.
oh, you failed to turn to the last page. You got it.
Yep.
I thought you said filled. Adrian,
Some things I feel like were stalled, but didn't really have a reason for being stalled. And I felt like we made like decisions on like multiple times. It's like the Holcomb House and Low Lecture Hall, I feel like has been like slower than I thought. And the CDS, Town Clerk, Town Treasurer. I just feel like all those seemed like they could have happened faster, but have been slow, and I just want to see them like wrapped up. Some of them, yeah. In the GOMO survey.
When you say low electrical, what do you want wrapped?
I just mean like put into motion more. Like have a plan in place. Mhm.
okay.
Get the conversation started.
Yeah.
John,
I didn't have any for this one.
okay. You
Just
did,
Adrian and I.
since I haven't seen it, so I hadn't either. All right, what are residents telling you matters most to them right now? Careful, get residents listening. Peter, oh, sorry, Adrian.
The library is of concern. That's what we hear at meetings often. Low lecture hall or Old Town Hall is what we hear often. It seems like properties of us acquiring more properties and how we're going to take care of them seems very top of mind for residents. I hear a lot about Railroad Street improvements, and connectivity with the rail trail.
Okay. Thank you. John, do you have any for this one?
I've had some conversation about the condition of Railroad Street. I've been talking to Casey about skate park. You know, the library, the budget, you know, what are some items that we could do for that, and Doug Moldy and the rail trail.
Doug would like that he's become synonymous with the rail trail. Evan,
I've heard a lot about the rail trail. Gotten an earful about the library. And the industrial park. A lot of curiosity about Holmes Meadow. A lot of complaints about Old Mill Park. I'd say 90% of the taxpayers tell me that they're concerned about the high tax rate. And I have heard from a few about the committee growth being out of control. I don't think that those people know the overall actual spend on all committees, but they see a spot that just continually grows our budget, right? And they relate it to high taxes, which we do have a high tax rate.
Compared to other towns or just?
We're talking 20% in the state.
Mhm.
More people down.
Oh,
Or rely on more services and drive our tax rate higher. Majority of the lowest tax rate towns in the state have low populations. That's just based on Vermont property value and review, which is provided information from all the towns.
something I wanted to add to mine that I forgot, is, fifth employee for Public Works. It comes up when a committee member or just a resident needs something and the Public Works Department doesn't have time to do it because there's not enough people.
I've heard some feedback on Old Mill Park. I've had a chance to drive by it a couple of times. Are there any particular issues with the park?
I mean, I think a lot of the complaints are. Right, did the town acquire that when I was young? I remember being down there and helping put the backstops in with my father and uncle. It just used to be more lush green, there weren't hypodermic needles laying around. It just, the olden days, it was better maintained, I don't know. I can tell you it's rough, there is, maybe some reseeding needed, maybe some diamond, baseball diamond work needed. Maybe the parking lot, flow needs to be looked at. I know the trail that was put around it, I don't think has had a day of maintenance ever since it was put in. It being on the board, like those are complaints that I'm hearing, and maybe that's just because my kid's in sports, right? Being on the board, I sit here and I see the shape of the field and I go, yeah, it's not great. I understand it costs money, but I also know that we put $140,000 trailhead building to pull people off. And if we're pulling people off into a not well kept park, is that money well spent? I would like to put the caveat that the majority of that was not taxpayer money. There was a grants and a huge substantial gift for that, but it was still a lot of money spent. Show people what we have, and then it's like you pull back the curtains and it's not really maintained.
Next question is, are there any items that you think belong in list one, obligations or impairs, as some might say? That the board might not be aware of? I'm not sure who this question is directed at.
We could skip it if.
We are the board, but
I mean, it's not a bad time to talk about it. The board's aware that the garage needs a new boiler pretty bad, right? It's not on any list. I do believe that we're past renewal date for our agreement with LRS WMD. I also believe that may get sticky depending, because the recycling facility was actually paid for and built by the village, but there's an agreement with the town that after 20 years we acquire it, I believe. I don't know if the transitional paperwork has been done. Probably worth somebody named Rosemary for a little bit more information. But it could get sticky if the village doesn't want to get rid of it. I don't see why they'd want to keep it.
Where's recycling center?
Wilson Road. But I'm pretty sure we're past due.
The transfer station?
Yeah. I called it the recycling center. It's the composting facility that's out back.
Oh, not the transfer station.
No, the transfer station is on town land.
Okay,
And there's an agreement that I'm pretty sure is out of date.
with the waste district.
Yes,
Okay.
but the building that they use for composting behind there, we never paid for. But I don't believe we need to see the agreement.
Uh-huh.
And just make it clear. out of our control, but I do believe we'll be seeing a new sheriff at some point, and we need to maintain a really good relationship there because whatever your opinions on the Lamoille County Sheriff's Department are, they are not forced to contract law enforcement services with us. It is a service that they provide, and they do a good job. And along with emergency services, I don't think this is on list one, but I wrote it down. I think statewide, the structure to fire departments might change in the next decade. Like, deserves some thought from an emergency services standpoint, right? I can see a model. The need for fire departments is just exponentially growing with more population, so they need more money. And I can see at a certain point where maybe there will be, I know that the town does not own the fire department. See, you said it, I acknowledged it. We pay for a contracted service and we're very lucky that they're good. I can see a model where our fire calls may be exponentially growing to the point where maybe a full-time fire chief and assistant chief are needed. And unfortunately, the most cost-effective model in my mind is something similar to NEMS, where we would have an interlocal fire department that could still have volunteers, but maybe there would be a 24-hour staff of 4 people or whatever. You have to have 12 employees to cover 24/7. It gets very expensive very fast. Maybe I'm way overthinking this. I just see the call volume going up and the volunteerism declining. I just want to make sure we continue having a good fire service, and hopefully it never makes it to it. Those are like emergency things.
Yeah. Important to have that on our minds.
If we ended up with a new sheriff and all of a sudden lost law enforcement, what do we do?
Yeah.
I'd like to think we would be left in that scenario. All right, the grimness is gone.
That was good, thank you. Anything else to add in that category? Anyone feel free to chime in? All right, is there anything the board should stop doing or deprioritize to make room for other stuff?
Well, the first 30 things we talked about.
Some would say have meetings like this. Adrian, you have anything in there?
I was struggling to think of anything.
You need to stop spending money.
We need to make more money. Yeah, I couldn't come up with anything. I don't know. I feel like everything needs work. So.
Yeah. John?
I don't think we are focused in any direction that we shouldn't be going in. Have any thoughts for deprioritizing?
Okay.
We need to stop spending money. I think it's a delicate balance, right? I hit on more defined goals and structures for committees earlier. I feel like we should stop fizzling out like bottle rockets for every little thing. Maybe it's just communication making it back to us in a more efficient manner.
Okay. I didn't have any of these because again, I didn't see these questions. However, one thing I would like to change, which doesn't really impact this list, but just don't want to get it out there while I'm thinking about it, is our process for reviewing expenses and checks and so forth. We've talked about that a couple of times.
Yeah.
And they get passed around at the beginning of the select board meeting, and I think that's a terribly inefficient way to review anything and give it any real attention. So I don't have a immediate solution in mind, but basically I think we need to cut off any payments earlier so that we have time to review those outside of the meeting and just have questions in the meeting. Because I feel like we're gonna have a transition in our treasurer staff and so forth, and I think we need to make it easier for them and easier for us to provide oversight. So.
I agree.
That was my, like in my known obligations, I'm still calling it the wrong name. That was partially my intent with financial policies.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you did say that.
it's on the board to say the policy is you have to have your invoice in by X date.
Right.
In order to be paid in the cycle. And then it's on the employee to say, okay, here's the orders on Thursday or.
So one of the things we did in Eagle Lake was when the board packs out copy of the. So.
Sorry, say that again, Chuck.
When the board packets went out to the select board,
Yep.
copies of the warrants went with it. So could we, when I'm uploading stuff onto the select board hub. Maybe the treasurer could upload the warrants as well, so you guys would have a chance to look at them before the meeting. The other thing we did was that if we had something that was critical that had to be paid, that could be on a second warrant to the board, and they might receive that, closer to the meeting, but it was only 1 or 2 items. So you're not going through the whole warrant, looking to sign in. You've seen everything beforehand, and maybe on meeting night you might get a smaller warrant item with 2 or 3 things on it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think there's, again, I don't want to get too far into the weeds of trying to how to solve the problems, but I think it's good to get a list of them. Along those lines, how do people feel about the packets? How much time do we need to review packets before meetings? Sometimes they're pretty long.
We've been getting them on Thursdays, Friday mornings.
Yeah, is that good enough? Is that too much time?
It's fine by me.
If you have them by Friday, is that soon enough? Do we need them by Thursday?
Thursday morning is
Wednesday?
my ideal.
It's a heck of a lot better than Monday.
Oh, yeah. Your ideal?
My ideal is Thursday morning if possible.
I could live with Friday.
Malleable.
Wow, you. Comparatively malleable. Okay. I know you know what this one means. For your list of 3 items, who would lead or champion each one? I'm not sure what 3 items are being referred to there.
It was for your top 3 items. On your this year's action priorities.
Oh, I didn't identify my top 3. I just wrote Evan there. That's
And I rolled Peter. It was a heck of a trade-off, and Paul's in between us, so I guess.
right.
Yeah. Okay, well, since we didn't prioritize, we don't have the top 3 identified, I think we can safely skip that one unless anybody's got anything else to say about it.
But when we do zero in and identify our top priorities, that's a very important question
Yeah.
to ask
Absolutely.
of each one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
I did have I took a screenshot of what we just did, and then I asked AI to find the overlap with all of them. So it lists out all the ones mentioned in each bucket and put the people that mentioned it in their bucket, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
So can you make that bigger? Can we look at, say, the obligations this year? Or
I can, what I can do.
I guess the priorities has the obligations as well, right? Where we did it, so.
Let me put it in a Word doc so I can zoom in on it. So it looks like these ones all had 3 people mention it. So the buyout, yeah,
I just wanted to ask, so we know what we're looking at, does it, list three, does it include the obligations as well as?
Yeah, it says like buyout properties / Julian Scott House, Evan, Peter, Adrian, and Paul.
what's your question, Paul?
What?
Why not?
I'm just trying to figure exactly what AI did here, so we have list one we're looking at,
It looked at,
list two, did it do list 2 and 3 as well?
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm just wondering, so list 3, what it has going down? Did it have just this year's priorities or other things in there? I'm just trying to look at this, best way to look at this.
Doesn't have what?
The number one items.
You know, how I said my priority list for this year includes all the stuff in bucket one. Looks like
Oh.
that's what it did. So, okay, let's go back up to the top. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out exactly how it grouped things.
No, I didn't, I only, in our file, I only put like what you listed out loud. So like, this is what you listed out loud
Right.
for your top ones.
Okay, so.
So maybe we, like, if it has like 2 or more, then we go with that in our known obligations.
We could try that, but let's scroll down a little bit so you can't let one back. Like any contract, that is an obligation.
I'm alone an awful lot.
You said scroll down.
Where's Mike when you need him?
So I like the ones that had 3, maybe. Oh, yeah, I guess it's.
Yeah, you want me to highlight the ones that have 3 or more?
Yeah, just for grins, just to kind of see what things look like.
What were you talking about with Old Mill Park improvements, Paul?
The field condition in general and facilities, like,
Yeah,
I can tell you that at the recreation, the RERC, we're actually really prioritizing the brownfield component of the Old Mill Park.
yes, Charlie,
Very
that's good to know. Yeah, thank you.
isn't that an arson done?
Arsenic?
Pretty sure it is. On the side that we have tested.
Do we count John as a third?
Yeah, it counts.
Why is form-based
You
code
count as a
coming up so
person?
much?
Well, not at home, but usually one like that. Behind the dog and the cats.
Because we need to have it.
Welcome House too.
Warner,
That's the only building we got.
what were you talking about?
It's
For
not
the brownfield.
100% clear whether that's gonna be zoning enough. State.
Okay,
Yeah, she'll tell you.
Oh, because I put repairs instead of.
And you keep her
improvements.
every day.
typically on Thursday, mostly.
Okay,
I guess,
it says the big takeaways. Literally all 5 members have it somewhere at Little Lecture Hall. Industrial Park, 4 to 5 members across list, mention Industrial Park. Forum-based code is mentioned by 4 members. Flood resilience, 3 to 4 members. And rail trail, 4 members. And then employee transitions is mentioned by 3 members across the 3 lists.
That's actually pretty helpful, because we sort of artificially put these things in different buckets, and it really doesn't matter what bucket they're in.
Right.
Uh,
Mhm.
John,
So the downtown designation, that opens up town for extra certain grants and.
It makes you eligible for certain grants and also gives you grant priority for other ones, but it's not an easy thing to do necessarily. Morrisville's worked at it for a long time. They had it, and they lost it, and they had to work for several years to get it
Village
back.
had it.
Well, we're currently grandfathered in based on our village center designation we used to have, but we're grandfathered in at the lowest level, which doesn't really get you a whole lot. And as I understand it, and it's a superficial understanding at best. But my concept is that we would ask the planning commission to work with LCPC and really dig into it, see exactly what are the benefits, what are the requirements, how long of a process is it, and can we do it? You know, for one thing, I know you need zoning. Right now, it's not clear at state level whether form-based code is zoning enough. If it's not, and we don't want zoning, then it's non-discussion.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of thing we need to kind of identify. What are the hurdles, or roadblocks, or requirements? We want to look at them.
I'd like to. Something, Adrian has this meeting coming up regarding, once again, village, town combination. And I think, there's been discussions to, sometimes the village could get in between us moving, what seems to be a positive direction. It kind a lot of it hinges on, I would say, what's going to happen with Railroad Street in regards to the rail trail. I mean, if all of a sudden we get this huge pushback that they don't want this to happen, I mean, this whole thing of village combination finally coming together could actually come to a head. So I don't know if you guys have thought about this at all.
Not prepared to discuss it, but certainly, yes, I've thought about it.
Like in regards to the railroad street, like improvements
Yes,
in general,
yes.
I could see it being a point of contention with both of us because literally everything is, but I don't know about that topic specifically with them. We haven't discussed it yet, but we plan to have a joint meeting with them soon, so we could definitely put that on the agenda with them.
I recommend.
That,
Yeah, ideally, there's some short-term fixes that we can agree to that aren't painful for anybody, and then longer term, we try to get a big grant so we can tear up the road and do the infrastructure that they want to do anyway. Resurface the road, deal with the sewer drains appropriately and so forth, but that's obviously a longer.
Yeah,
isn't what we talked about as a first tier plan for Railroad Street relative to the rail trail? Weren't those pretty much on the surface of the road?
Oh, entirely, yes.
So,
And most of it is the other side of the bridge.
so
mean, it's-
it's our road.
Yeah,
It's a town road.
Well, their
We should-
system goes under.
Well-
For the big rebuild, yeah,
Yeah, but surface level things are fine.
yeah.
yeah, like painting bike lane or painting shower roads, that kind of stuff, that's easy enough. I think the big issue is that if you're gonna be biking along the sidewalk side, you've got those trains that are a hazard. Is there some way to bridge those temporarily while we figure out the longer term thing, or, that's where the village would be involved, I would think. So how do people feel about the combined list that's there, as you start to our priorities for this year? It doesn't capture everything we identified, certainly.
I would just like it in list form, like
What's
the
it?
full list of the buckets. And then certain things that you really don't have a say over, I think are pretty easy to cross off. I didn't put Holmes Meadow as a project. It's closing in a month. So if it wasn't on the priorities list, to shrink the priorities list down to where it's like legible and followable.
Yeah.
You know, the library still needs to be on there because of the funding gap and how much work we have to do. The industrial park's still gonna need work. But, like, you know, we all have clerk treasurer transition. I think all of us mentioned it. It's an elephant in the room.
Mhm.
We really don't have a choice. We need to
Right.
we need to do that. So does it really need to be on? It's almost like you have the list you don't have a choice over, and then you have the list of priorities.
That's kind of where we started, the
Mhm.
obligations, right?
Yeah, maybe I worked myself in a full circle here.
Good parents.
I set you up for that. You're welcome.
I think, I always feel like this exercise is valuable in terms of looking at how many people identified the same things. I mean, that does show some energy around certain things.
Mhm.
I don't know that we should take it at face value without looking at the things that there wasn't a great deal of agreement on, and are we missing something? You know, if we're only looking at those top vote getters,
Mhm.
are we missing something that if we all looked at it, we'd say, oh yeah, that should be in there too.
Right.
Well, we are. I mean, union contract, for one.
Yeah.
Union contract, Evan's the only one that mentioned it. So, but obviously we have to do it.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of a true obligation.
I do think our server runs out of support this year.
Like it renews
About that.
no,
Like, isn't it still a 2012 R2 and can't be updated?
Oh, I know that.
You're not gonna do this in the cloud. You're gonna have that speeds.
On-prem,
Why?
because it's taxpayer money. No, that was a sarcastic remark. I think there's actually obligations to keep it on premises for like land records, vital records, all of those things. I could be wrong. I'd have to ask
I
Rosemary.
just don't understand necessarily the reasoning behind it. I mean.
Again, let's not dive down into any one thing, but that's a perfect topic that we need to find out more about. So we know. Yeah, if support's gonna run out, then we need to do something about it.
I think our land records are backed up externally.
There's a lot of hardware to keep it secure. You're a lot of redundancies that you have built in and constant backing up. And if it's out, you have already contracted for that. It might be hacked cheap.
And it's somewhere else, and
Yeah.
we can have AI take it and ruin all of it. And
Well, that
we could reset no tax bills.
How do people feel about building security? We talked about that when I first got on the board. And I bring it up because I came in last night and the building was open. Rosemary was the only one here. The vault was wide open. And I thought, I'm not sure that's a great situation. I do think, a very simple policy was if only one person's here, the building will be locked, the vault will be locked. But, your office was open, Eric's office was open.
Yeah.
I don't know. In this day and age, it doesn't seem like a great plan.
Something I've wanted us to have for a long time is like PIN code locks on the doors. And you can like program them to lock when the building's locked. And maybe the committee chairs know the code and the code changes like quarterly or something.
You want a door access system, like a security system.
Mm-hmm.
Something to think about. It's another way to spend money, of course, but
Those are
There's
not
hard-
very
there's
expensive.
hardware solutions and then there's policies.
Yeah.
Cost anything, but okay, just want to bring it up while it's mine and talk about priorities. I guess I would propose that we download this list into some sortable format, like Excel or something that we can all kind of play with and then come back together and ultimately post it and ask for town input. It would be nice to hear from a wider group. Did we miss anything?
You want it in an Excel so you can like move the cells and shift things, or?
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, frankly, but I don't want it in a form that I can't move things around.
Okay.
But that's just me. Anybody else? I mean,
If you were gonna open it up to the community for looking at, would you put a little explanation under some of those things, like what's the next step for the industrial park? What's the concern? What's the goal?
Like where we are at, what phase we're at? in
Yeah,
it?
because I mean, people might not like, oh, I've heard Holmes Meadow, I see they're taking dirt off of it, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just pull that one up, but.
Mhm.
Especially, I think your next step, your most important next step for at least the ones that seem to be pretty important.
that's a great idea. It broadens the task considerably. Because it means we have to identify the next steps and we haven't necessarily agreed on what's the next step for the lecture hall, for example. We have to decide what the process is.
There's something
So-
that's really like,
Yeah,
everyone knows what the next step is, except for the people that are reading.
okay.
Never mind.
Was good input. Hey, Mike. Other ideas as to how to go forward?
I like the idea of it being manipulatable. I also would love to see this AI summary. Where,
We can just
the
copy and
right hand
paste that
side
into
of your
Word.
screen.
So we can just copy and paste that into Word, right? And then we have it to look at as it is.
Ye-
But then we can also paste it into,
I'm having it make an Excel document of this. But I can send both the doc and the Excel format.
If it's Excel, is it gonna show how many people? And who
Yeah.
they were?
Well, I'm thinking it will. See what pops
Okay.
out.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are big, some are small.
Pat, you're looking happy about this.
I think it's overwhelming to me.
Hmm.
Because I'm zeroed in on the budget. How do you go from this to a budget that voters can agree on? Not gonna bankrupt on it, and I don't see how you're gonna get there. I mean, I don't, there's. Then there's, this is your problem, but there's a school budgets, then. Are what we have to pay for Memorial Union. And just what their electrical rates are gonna go up. So. That's right. So that's not your problem, but it is a problem, because when they start looking at it, it's bottom line. You can only tax somebody so far, and I don't wanna see all. So,
No, it's,
and I just don't wanna. Somehow. We can't not fix the building, can't fix a hole, we have to do it. Deferred maintenance doesn't work, because it only costs you more money. Just look at our state roads, we haven't put it into them, they're just getting worse, so I don't know where it fits in, but you can only. Just being a senior citizen. And my retirement package, you know. Like I said, electricity's possibility of that's going up in the village. And so anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see how you get to the budget.
Lois,
Well, John had to say nothing.
well, just to answer your question, I think once you. identify which needs are. And you have a plan to address them. On some of these, there's grant funding available to help offset that cost. If you can announce that, it's part of a plan to, fix town facilities, it's part of a plan to, work, on Railroad Street as part of another plan for economic development, you stand a better chance at getting grants, and additional funds, so you don't have to put it all towards budget and the taxpayers.
Mhm. Mhm.
Louis?
Well, I just wanted to mention, I'm kind of a task person, and one of the things that Evan mentioned was the increase of numbers of volunteer groups that are requesting money each year. And the way that people participate in that is set on, the policy was set by the select board. And it goes back to 2003. And I'm thinking that it's time for the select board to revisit that policy. And maybe have a couple of people from the community come in and help with ideas, because communities do that kind of thing in lots of different ways. So just as my task thought for tonight.
So what policy specifically are you referring to that the select board set in 2000?
That goes to the outside organizations.
She's talking about appropriations.
Oh,
right?
okay,
Yeah.
not committees, okay.
No,
I thought, oh, okay.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, we do have quite a list.
we have a list, we have a policy, but the policy hasn't been followed. In some cases. And so. Looking at that policy would be very.
Yeah, that's good input, because I have no idea what the policy is, frankly, but it is a list that we vote on at town meeting, and it's pretty long. So it's, yeah,
It's long.
it's in the budget, yeah.
Well, the policy basically states if you're asking for an appropriation, you need to get a petition together for the warning. And once it's accepted by the voters, the following years, as long as there's no increase in funding, and you basically send an email, you'll be included in our budget. Voters approved it once, folded in with the other 30 grand that we give.
Well, thanks, Louis, that's,
I did read it before this town meeting because there was a request to be put on the warning by the board, and I said, no, you need to go get a petition.
I think one of the things that's kind of skewed it is the fact that you don't have to go back ever once you get on the list.
Right.
Unless you increase it. Whereas a lot of communities have it, maybe for 5 years or 2 years, or some even have it every year, but we got away from that.
yep,
That's
a great idea.
How big of a chunk are our appropriations?
30,000.
yes, not,
We were at 32,600 after this year.
It's not a huge amount of money, but it's something that people look at in the budget.
It's 1.5 cents. It's almost 2%. 1.5 cents on our tax rate.
yeah, so relative to the overall budget, it's not that much, but still, the point is a good one, and we're gonna have to look at every single line item,
How many properties did we lose? 19?
17.
17.
I imagine that's way north of $30,000.
We did the math. I'd have to look it up. I could send it to you. Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, it certainly was, right? And somebody was asking me, well, how much did the town get for the little lecture hall? $2,000. Well, their tax bill had to be higher than that. Of course it did, but 70% of that goes to the school. The town doesn't. Town sees 30%.
And the other thing is the state theoretically is making up that tax loss for 5 years.
5 years at 100%, 5 years at 50%, 10 years total.
So there is some offset, some cushion there, but
Okay.
it's.
As long as they appropriate.
Not the school portion,
Yeah.
so.
They make up the school portion with $100 million buy down of the educational fund.
Yeah, sort of thing we did. It's great knowing you have money sitting in the back pocket somewhere.
Yeah.
I had it make a spreadsheet and I have a phase column on here. And I had it put unknown, it didn't know. Salt purchase, are we in like the researching planning phase of that or not started?
Yeah.
All the local companies, a lot of them are not putting their prices out until June.
Okay.
That one might have bit us. It's fuel enough.
That's kind of a holdover. I mean, part of the question is, can we buy on the state contract?
No.
As well as.
Yeah, it's not by for this year.
And
I checked into it.
in facility use application, we have one or we don't have one right now?
We never even had, it's for low lecture halls specifically. We never even acquired that building until a month ago. There's no way we would have had a facility use application for a
Oh,
low lecture hall.
But we have one for
There's a form.
like
Right.
here
He's asking.
or
We have one for.
we have one for the oven.
Yeah, there's one for the oven. I know there's one for Old Mill Park. I don't know if there's one for here. I should know, but I don't.
Okay.
There's one
What
for
I'm-
PG Field, right?
What I'm getting at there is it's an empty building and we said, well, it might be open for a few things. And I foresee Kyle Noose, she puts untold amounts of hours into making the Jubilee happen.
Mhm.
I would foresee her asking if she could use the old town hall, which would be great. But just something that she could fill out that says, I'd like to
Yeah,
do
good.
X on X date. And because the utilities are shut off,
Right.
it'd be nice to know, well, do you want running water? Could we afford to do it? Because we're gonna need to coordinate with the village to go turn the water on, and I don't know if they shut the electricity off or not. There's coordination that needs to happen on the town side for things to happen. People can't come in the day before and say, I wanna have an event that would benefit the town there, and you need to make it happen. That wouldn't be fair to our employees. I don't see there being a lot of things there.
Okay.
But maybe Discover Johnson wants to do some concert night with music and they can get a couple of artists to donate some time to do a fall jam. I don't know. I'm making this up. I'm not volunteering anybody for
We
anything.
have a website and there's a form you can like fill out.
But if it benefited the community as a whole, I would be hard pressed to not support it.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of people had, changing subjects a little bit, or changing subjects completely. A lot of people had Railroad Street on their list of things, and some of it was rail trail connection, and some of it seemed like, I think I heard improvements, or I'm not sure that was aesthetic or what the intent was there. So I guess I'm asking, what was the intent? And I'm asking with the idea that if we're trying to draw people off the rail trail and get them in town, it's gotta be an attractive venue, or at least not an unattractive venue. And I'm wondering if there, an idea of pursuing a grant for that type of thing would be worthwhile. It gets complicated because they're private properties, obviously, and so that's an issue, but there's some really nice houses on Railroad Street, and there's some that don't look so great, and it's not a necessarily great entry into the town of Johnson. So I guess was I hearing some of the comments about Railroad Street correctly, or was I not?
I don't remember coming up about Railroad Street specifically. John, I think, was talking about people going through on Main Street and seeing some of the.
Yeah, and some of the feedback that I've heard on Railroad Street is just the overall condition of the surface, the pavement, and the sunken storm drains, and and that's why, in order for us to do something, it's going to be a multi-tier effort. I know I talked to Eric a little bit about it, and there was some discussion with the LCPC about maybe looking at CDBG funding for the infrastructure. And I talked with Jason, we got the we went after the $200,000 road paving grant. Well, you know, could the village maybe go after that funding or go after CDBG, go after funding to work on the infrastructure? And then once that's done, you know, we would commit the funding for paving. And then, you know, Railroad Street would be complete. But it's just not something there that we can feasibly do on our own.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Rosemary about any of that? I don't know if the village actually can
What's that?
go for infrastructure grants.
They can't go for infrastructure grants?
I mean, like when they updated the infrastructure on Clay Hill or the stormwater structure on the beginning of French Hill or some stormwater infrastructure on Gould Hill, the town had to apply and be a pass-through for the village, and I don't know why that would have had to have been. Rosemary would be good to. I mean, I'm fine with being a pass-through too. I just don't know if it's a case where you can double dip. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's really any other than COVID funds.
I don't know what funding would be available for it, but one of the communities near where we used to live, they all had a kind of historic downtown. There's one particular street that had some historic commercial structures, unique kind of in their architecture. Somewhere they got money, the town got money to provide facade upgrades. So basically, every facade on that street, privately owned, got paint. And it looked fantastic. You know, the sides of the buildings might, you know, the back of the building, who knows? But the front looked, you know.
In Maine, CDBG had facade grants that communities could apply. They'd be awarded X amount, and then they go out to the business community, and then they would apply through the town for some of the grant funds, and that would be for the front of the building.
So I wonder if, you know, a homeowner or apartment building owner, you know, through some method like that could get a front facade improvement and for Railroad Street to shine a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be great. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't do anything for the size of the back, but it's a quarter of the house, right? It's a
Yeah.
bonus for.
Yeah.
I can. When my house painted for free, that'd be great. Okay, well, just something to think about. How are people feeling about this process?
Feels good.
More confused than when I showed up.
Good, that was the goal.
Did I say already I sent the links for both of these? I emailed them already.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
So our plan will be to email them to them individually. Maybe come together at one of our next meetings and really nail down a more specific list that we can circulate publicly that makes some sense.
So have another planning.
Really.
No, I think that is the
That's
natural
part of
plan.
what's select board meeting, thing.
Okay,
Maybe
maybe we have two people work on a final list, and then at the next select board meeting, we can approve or make edits to and you know.
good idea. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Two people create
A final 3-bucket list.
3-bucket list with priority.
Mm-hmm. And we can assign people to them next meeting, that meeting too. Or, yeah, entities.
So, okay, maybe let's back up. Are we thinking we're sticking with the 3 buckets, or are we just trying to make a priority list for 2026?
I think 3 buckets is helpful, but We can just do 2026.
Others? Anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, leave when it gets harder.
No, that's your job.
Thank you, guys.
Um. I think it's safe to combine list 1 and list 3.
Unless you renamed them. It could be like. Known priorities. Wanted short-term priorities and long-term priorities.
Long-term meaning not necessarily started sometime in the future, but it's gonna take time to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I put move the village out of the floodplain. It's
Mhm.
probably never gonna happen, just cross it off, but. And like long-term doesn't even have to be started. I think long-term. Well, electro. Be nice.
Well, that's what I had in my mind as examples. It doesn't mean we're not gonna do anything yet for a long time, but it's a long-term project. Is that
Right.
For your envisioning.
Like the industrial park, I mean, you know, by the time the industrial park gets. Constructed, and then, you know, we see vendors going in. I mean, that could be a 2, 3, 5 year project.
You got them all sold in 5 years, that'd be awesome. Okay, so how do people feel about that? So we've got list of requirements. Imperatives, whatever we want to call it for this year, and then short-term and long-term priorities.
Sure.
Does that work?
Mhm.
And what you're suggesting is that 2 people take a look at that and try to craft another list that is prioritized,
Yeah, combined list.
and then the whole board takes a look at that and decides whether or not we'll like it.
Yeah. Mhm.
I
And
see 2 people could draft it. I think it should be circulated to the board before the meeting, so we get
Mhm.
some internal feedback and
yeah.
whatnot.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then we ask the public to come and.
It'll just be the regular schedule.
Topic and maybe not the next select board meeting, but the one after that, something like that. And just say,
Well, I mean, can we put it on the website? And then maybe put the word out that this is where it is,
Sure.
and then invite comments.
Mhm.
sure, yep. That's a good way to.
Long-term ATV trails.
Mr. Chance, it was on the list, sorry.
No, it's on the list. We restructured the lists here.
Going to identify who of the people are who are going to do that task.
I'll be one of them.
We haven't yet, but I think probably falls to the chair and vice chair, just get it started.
I mention that because I think over the years, things will get discussed and there'll be no closure about specifically who's going to do it.
Mhm.
And then it goes on and on.
I know, yeah.
Good point, Lois.
Don't you love when that happens?
Fine.
Anything else?
I could be flexible.
I'll try to be more disagreeable.
Ooh, I like that side view.
Mhm. I won't be at our second meeting in May.
Okay, what do we need to pass? Well, Evan's not here.
I'm giving you a heads up, carte blanche. If you could get Mike on to show, we could have a 10-minute one.
What is the date of the second meeting?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good point. I will be out of state. Hang on,
It comes so early.
pardon me?
Yeah, Monday might be Memorial Day,
Oh, there you go, we won't have a meeting anyways.
but I'm just saying. like,
That's one of our 30 town holidays.
Oh,
Green
Monday the
Mountain
4th?
Access.
Yeah.
So we have to-
After our meeting
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
out.
You'll have to bump.
If you could just leave the laptop.
No, it's the 24th.
Right. Second one, the second meeting is the 18th.
Oh, so that's fine. Isn't Memorial Day the
Memorial Day is the
25th?
25th.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll just miss the second meeting.
So we
you
adjourning?
go on the 18th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll still be here, so I'm good.
I was gonna put a reminder out that Green Up Day is this weekend.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Saturday.
Who'd you get for volunteers?
Volunteers
Yeah.
or
You-
The ATV club used to do a pile of work for Green Up Day.
really?
Yeah, like trailers and trailers. of trash.
Hmm.
I have to call Shane. He used to
Oh,
work with him quite a bit. I think one year they brought in like 50 tires or something. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're getting close to Green Up Day there, come down Waterman Road there, and there's 4 tires just sitting beside the road, just
Yeah.
stacked up.
Yeah, once I send them in.
Yeah, I don't think we have to pay for the tires
No.
on Saturday. So I remember having to fit. And
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
here,
right.
are we
It
done?
does seem like some people, oh, yeah, yes,
yeah, you did a lot of work last year. Yeah.
I don't know if he's. But
but I think we closed the meeting at 8 o'clock.
I'm trying to remember that.
Okay.
We adjourned.
Who called it?